Yo, welcome to this week's video. So what I'm going to do this week is, I've been hopping on about it for a long time, but the interior needs a good clean. I've broken it down into stages, and the reason I've left it this long is because one of the things is getting done is the seats, and I didn't want to be taking the seats out, putting them back in when I clean it, and then later on taking them out. It's easier just to do it all in the one hit. So what we're going to do is, I've mentioned the steering wheel before. It's got a couple of worn areas and things like that. I think it could do with a clean. Give me 2 seconds so I can get this straight. I think it could do with a clean, but I'm not going to get it too wet because it's quite cold outside now, and I don't want to come back to it and find it covered in mold. So maybe like a slight damp cloth and a couple of dabs, and also I've got a brush to see if we can brush up these areas to get them less shiny and more fluffy, as it were. Then after I've done that, I'm going to take off the roof to allow me better access to get the seats out. I'm going to remove the seats, and then I'm going to remove the carpets and the foot, can't remember what that's called, footstool, whatever. I'm going to remove that, take those inside, give them a hoover, give them a clean up, and everything else I'm going to do just in the car as it was. I'm not going to use any product. I'm literally just going to use a cloth and damp water. I've asked online on some of the forums and things like that. They say the best things to use is magic sponges. I've got no idea about magic sponges, what chemicals they contain, if they contain any, or if it's just a sponge with a mild abrasive. So for now, I'm just going to use a damp cloth and some warm water and just see how we get it. And if it gets good, great. If not, then we come back and we'll do a tester somewhere with the magic sponge to make sure that's okay, and maybe do the whole thing with the magic sponge. But looking down here, looks like it's going to be painful because it is quite dirty in all the hard to reach areas. So yeah, the roof's definitely going to come off to allow easier access, but I also expect it to be quite painful and probably need to be a lot more flexible than I actually am to get it done good. So it may be that I do some today, and then when I start to get achy tired, put the car away, then when the seats come back, do the rest of it. Then we'll figure it out as we go anyway. But first things first, we'll do the steering wheel. So let me see if I can get the camera somewhere that's going to get the steering wheel. I'm going to open the door as well because I've got my bucket and water just outside. But just a brush with metal ends. So let's see if we can bring it back to life from where it's been worn. Obviously there's a lot of, I can actually smell the dust coming off it. But the plan is to do this first, and once this is done, we'll then hit it with a damp cloth and see if we can get it nice and clean as well at the same time. It's probably a good time to talk about how I know so much about the history of the car as well. So again, something that I haven't mentioned is this car was what do they call it, a piston heads owner's car. So the owner basically did blogs on piston heads talking about his experience of ownership with the car, things that went wrong with it, adventures that he had with it. So I know that it had all sorts of adventures across Europe, things like that. I know the things that have obviously gone wrong with it, it's been blogged, and obviously I've got all the history as well. So yeah, so if there's ever something I'm not sure about, like for example, I was trying to figure out the condition of the heater or anything like that, what I normally do first of all is just have a look at the blogs and see if I can find anything. And so I know that this heater's got a heater from, obviously probably the same heater, but it's got a heater from a 160 on that's been reconditioned already. So I know that that's not an area that I need to worry about unless it actually breaks. So yeah, it gives me another insight into the history of the car and the ownership of the car that you would never get past the receipts and things like that. So I know some of the adventures it's had. I think it's been to Spa, had a track day at Spa. I think there's some videos of it as well back at Hethel with, I can't remember the guy's name, but I think he's like chief product designer or something like that, chief product, I don't know what they call it, but videos of him online driving it around. Which, like I said, all gives a good insight into the car and its history beyond actually what you can find out from reading the receipts. So that just there is miles better than it was. It's brought a bit of material back. It doesn't have the sheen anymore. And then the same on this side, the two hard areas. The rest of it, like I said, was absolutely fine. It was just those two high use areas where it was looking a little worn, but this is bringing it back nice. Probably going to spend another 10-15 minutes, pat it down with some water, try to get that dust out, to get the dirt out, and then keep on brushing it, and then we'll move on to the next bit, which would be removing the seats, and then removing the roof first, and then removing the seats, and then once they're out I can get them out of the way and worry about proper access into the car. There we go. So I've given it a pat down with the damp cloth, and then I've given it another brush, and we're starting to look really good here. I think maybe another couple of minutes and it's probably not far off looking like new. Here we go. So high use areas, you can't even tell like before it was almost like the material had worn right down and there was just a sheen to it. On this side as well, exactly the same. And so all the way around it's looking pretty good. Now for the roof and the seats. I'm a bit worried about the seats, but I'm sure we'll figure it out as we go. So quick question while we're here, would you remove these and replace them for new, because I believe you can get new ones, or would you just leave it as it was, looking a bit tatty and a bit old? Let me know in the comments, because obviously on one hand I believe it to be original, but on the other hand it's a bit tatty. So comments for suggestions, greatly appreciated. Okay, so with the roof off, way easier to access, and you're starting to get an idea of just how dirty it is inside the car. So next thing I need to do is figure out how to get these out. I don't know if it's been done before or not, but we'll figure it out. I hope I've got the right tools, because I believe some of them are a little awkward to get to. I definitely don't want to be rounding any bolts off or anything like that, and hopefully we're walking into some decent bolts as well, but we'll figure it out as we go. I'll start with the passenger one first, I think, and then do the driver's one. So it's looking like there's 4 Allen bolts, so here at the front there, and then this one looks like it's going to be a bit of a pig. So we'll do the other 3 first of all, and then we'll see if we can figure out what the crack is with that one. So just a little update, we've got these 3 out. They're all looking in really good condition, to be fair. So the last one to get out is this one, which is in and down and under. We're going to call it the bastard, because I haven't actually figured out how to get to it yet. I'm hoping by removing these 3 I can get a bit of movement on the chair to get to it, but also the angles you're working with, it seems like when you go back in it's going to be exceptionally easy to possibly cross thread. So what I'll do when I go back in is really gently, and I'll do them by hand until I know for a fact that they're good, and then I'll move on to tools just as lightly as I can. But yeah, we'll figure that out when we get back to it. This one though, we need to figure out this one. So I managed to get it loose using this elbow, just like underneath and across, and then obviously it wasn't as tight as the others, but I've just unwound the rest of it and way, and again that looks in decent condition, so should be about time to lift the seats out. The only last thing I'm thinking of is the seat belt holding onto the seat, to maybe undo that first before I lift it. Found some sunglasses. Now onto the driver's side, which I think hopefully is easier. I've just found a bag of cloths behind the driver's seat. Interesting. So let's get the driver's seat out. So the driver's one appears to be slightly different. Obviously you've got this pocket here, so you've got to get just over the pocket to the back one, and then it should be the same on the other side, but with more room now because the other seat's gone. And then I'll move it all the way back. On the front we've got no longer Allen keys but bolts, so I presume this one's going to be just as much of a, well, actually that one looks a bit easier, but yeah, I think maybe start with the back two and then figure the front ones out as we go. So we've got all the 4 bolts out, the 2 front ones and then the rear ones with the ends for the sliders. Just the seat belt now, and then I'll be able to pull the whole thing out. A lot easier than the other side with that awkward one, but yeah, we'll get it out and then we can survey how dirty it actually is. So just quickly put these back into the holes that they were in. They don't have to be in too far, just so I don't lose them. Okay, let's survey how dirty it actually is. So I would say pretty filthy, to be honest. I mean, even looking on the dashboard you can see how dirty it is on the dashboard. So yeah, it needs a really good clean. I'm going to take my time over it. Taking the seats out has actually destroyed my back a little bit, so I think I actually need a rest because I've got work tomorrow, and I've been having issues with my back basically. So yeah, I might take the carpets out, take the foot pedal, whatever it's called, foot rest out, so it's just the tub, get everything tidied away, give it a quick wipe down, and then come back after it's had a quick wipe down in another day and do it like a really thorough job. So the next thing I'm going to do is pull the carpet out the front, and also the footstool, which is, I mean, it'll all come out in one go because they're stuck together basically. So lift those and peel this back, obviously 2 screws together there. I'll pull it out and then we'll come back to it and have a look at the floor as well. I've literally just realised this car has a cigarette lighter, or a power source as they call them nowadays, power output, just around the front there, which I literally never noticed before. But yeah, let's inspect the inside and see how it is. So originally from factory these floors came with a rubber sheet over the top, like glued to it, and it caused water to build up between the aluminium and the rubber sheet, which then caused them to corrode. And there was a recall by Lotus. I believe this to be the original floors. I would like to tidy them up and get them looking perfect. I think Lotus's solution to it was, if they were bad enough, just put a new aluminium sheet over the top of the ones that had rotted through bad enough. But I believe you could get these looking like really nice, like they were when they came out of the factory. But at the minute I don't know how to do that. Would it be, I've seen people online talking about POR 15 and aluminium filler. I don't know if that would be the way. If somebody knows in the comments, by all means please let me know. Similar on the other side as well. You can see obviously it's had a bit of treatment, but all in all really good. And then the rest of it just got dirt everywhere. Obviously, like I said, it needs a good clean. And these cars are hard to do the inside anyway, which is why I waited until now when the seats are getting sent off. I've got time. So, yeah, what I'll do is these plugs I'm going to put back where they're meant to go, throw them in there so I don't lose anything. Obviously I've got photos of where everything came from as well, so I know exactly what came from where. I'll do the ones on the other side. Okay, so we're leaving the car where it is for the time being until I've got the seats back. I figure we'll focus on the seats first of all. So they're all out, excuse the mess, but basically what we need to do is remove the hardware away from them, and then when this is off, obviously give it a good clean. Because this is the driver's side one, this actually slides backwards and forwards, so re-oil the mechanism and everything like that. And then obviously the amount of dust coming off this is unreal. But yeah, remove these first of all. I think there's 4 bolts, and I think it's the same on the other one. So one there, and then on the side at the back, this here as well, I think, and maybe that one. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. But yeah, I think both the drivers and the passengers are the same for the mounting points. So once we get one done, the other will be straightforward. Okay, and there's the first seat out. So, like I said, give all this a tidy up and a re-grease whilst the seats are away, and then when the seats come back, we'll get it all back together, get them back in the car, and get all the car clean and tidy as well. And there's the second one. So, what I need to do, get them in a box, get them sent off to get retrimmed. And then what we're going to do is wait till they come back, and then we'll make a start on cleaning the interior of the car, cleaning up the frames. And also they'll need a re-grease as well, so we'll get everything really nice before we put the seats back in. But yeah, just wait till the seats are ready first. So that concludes this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Give a like, give a subscribe, and I'll see you next time. In a bit. Bye-bye.